In the late 19th century, someone revolutionized the oil industry, dominating 90% of U.S. refining through efficiency, secret railroad deals, and aggressive expansion. Its immense power led to public backlash and a landmark antitrust breakup in 1911, yet its legacy endures through oil giants like ExxonMobil and Chevron. This is the story of Standard Oil and its journey of success to becoming global oil giant. The story of Standard Oil begins with John D. Rockefeller, its primary founder. Born in Richford, New York, in 1839, Rockefeller grew up in a modest household. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman, while his mother, Eliza Davison Rockefeller, was a devout and disciplined woman who emphasized hard work and saving. Rockefeller entered the business world as a bookkeeper in Cleveland, Ohio. In 1859, he partnered with Maurice B. Clark in a small commodity trading firm. Later joined by chemist Samuel Andrews, who introduced him to the refining of crude oil. The discovery of oil in Titusville, Pennsylvania, in 1859 by Edwin Drake sparked the oil boom. Seeing the opportunity, Rockefeller and his partners entered the oil refining business. In 1865, Rockefeller bought out Clark's stake and, with his brother William Rockefeller, Andrews, Henry Flagler, and Stephen Harkness, formed Rockefeller and Andrews. Their goal was to dominate oil refining, the most profitable part of the oil industry at the time. On January 10, 1870, Rockefeller and his partners officially incorporated Standard Oil of Ohio. The company's vision was simple: dominate the oil refining industry through efficiency, cost-cutting, and strategic partnerships. Cleveland became the center of operations, allowing Standard Oil to take advantage of cheap transportation and refining costs. To achieve dominance, Rockefeller used several aggressive strategies, like horizontal integration, by which Standard Oil systematically bought out competitors or forced them out of business, reducing competition. And by secret railroad rebates, Rockefeller struck exclusive deals with railroads like the Pennsylvania Railroad, Erie Railroad, and New York Central, receiving discounted transportation rates, while charging competitors higher fees. And by South Improvement Company, in 1872, this was a controversial scheme, where Standard Oil secured exclusive rebates from railroads, effectively driving out competitors. The plan was exposed, leading to public backlash, but it showed Rockefeller's business acumen. And also by refinery efficiency, Standard Oil reduced waste, used byproducts like paraffin and lubricants, and cut costs aggressively. And by vertical integration, over time, Standard Oil moved beyond refining, acquiring pipelines, storage facilities, and marketing operations. By 1880, Standard Oil controlled 90% of the U.S. oil refining industry. To streamline operations, and avoid state laws, restricting monopolies, Rockefeller created the Standard Oil Trust in 1882. This was a pioneering move in corporate structure, where multiple subsidiaries were controlled by a central board of trustees. This allowed Standard Oil to operate seamlessly across multiple states, while technically appearing as separate entities. By the late 1880s, Standard Oil was one of the most powerful corporations in the world, expanding globally into markets like Europe, China, and South America. Standard Oil's dominance led to intense scrutiny. The Sherman Antitrust Act, in 1890, this law was passed to curb monopolies, but Standard Oil continued its operations. And in 1904, the journalist Ida Tarbell, whose father was driven out of business by Standard Oil, wrote the history of the Standard Oil Company, exposing its ruthless tactics. And later in 1906, the U.S. government sued Standard Oil under antitrust laws. And in 1911, the Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil must be broken up into 34 separate companies. And in 1911, Standard Oil was dismantled into several major companies, including Standard Oil of New Jersey, later became Exxon; the Standard Oil of New York, later became Mobil; and the Standard Oil of California, later became Chevron; and also the Standard Oil of Indiana, later Amoco, now part of BP. The Standard Oil of Ohio, later Sohio, acquired by BP. And Continental Oil Company, later became Conoco, merged with Phillips 66. Even after the breakup, the successor companies remained highly successful. The companies that emerged from Standard Oil grew into oil giants, shaping the modern energy industry. and the ExxonMobil, formed from the merger of Exxon, the Standard Oil of New Jersey, and Mobil, the Standard Oil of New York. It remains one of the world's largest energy companies. And the Chevron, Standard Oil of California, evolved into Chevron, that became another oil giant. Later BP and Shell, many of the former Standard Oil assets, were acquired by or merged into BP and Shell, reinforcing their global dominance. John D. Rockefeller, after retiring, became the world's first billionaire and focused on philanthropy, founding institutions like the Rockefeller Foundation, University of Chicago, and Rockefeller University. Standard Oil revolutionized the oil industry through efficiency, vertical integration, and aggressive business tactics. Although it was broken up in 1911, its successor companies continue to dominate the global energy market. Rockefeller's legacy remains controversial. He was both a ruthless monopolist and a visionary businessman who reshaped modern capitalism.